Greetings, and welcome to the Talk to Me America show, where the world usually wants to hear what you have to say. So you might be able to call me later and tell them like it is. Actually, tonight is kind of an impromptu show, so that I can get my my newest platform together. I do one at a time. I'm sorry, I'm not going to be unpilled. I haven't actually asked for permission yet. I wanted to see if it was actually possible to do one before I bothered the staff over there as far as that goes. And I still ended up having to bother the staff of what is it, Kick. I'm on Kick now too. So I am posting on Kick, YouTube, Rumble, and of course Odysee is my main platform still as far as that goes. So welcome to the show. I'm ldghwih, your hostess. Thank you for clicking on my little acre of the internet today. I'm aware that Salty's probably still on for another hour or so. But again, you guys can flip back and forth if you want, whatever. You're helping me to actually test to fail. You can support the channel. In fact, a lot of things are needing support right now. I'm hearing about a trip for Tom and Town to go to Vegas? Yeah, Vegas for something. So that's on our pureblood.tv. There's all kinds of places all kinds of people you can support right now for the cause, which of course is the election coming up. This is what we all get into these streams for, don't we? This is what we got into it in the first place. You know, everybody's talking about all the election stuff and everything like that, and all the stuff that's happening with regard to the people involved in the elections. It's almost like we are announcing a sporting event, yet it's not quite a sport, but it is kind of a sport. But it's more like a soap opera with a bunch of toddlers stomping around. You know how it goes. If anybody is out there at the moment, let me know if everything is working so far. I'm trying to keep track of the chats and everything else. I'm kind of a boomer when it comes to some of this stuff, but once I learn, I'm good. I'm not that much of a boomer. I'm actually an Xer. All my stuff says I'm an Xer. I was born in 1966. I know a lot of people would think I'm old, but imagine how I feel. Yes, Vegas. They are driving now. Oh, okay. Youngberg's Audi stream. Okay. So you get to watch live people traveling to Vegas, which you got to be careful. Can't hear me. Okay. Check. That might be Odysee. Let me make sure. Although there's nothing there. Mr. Tizo says it's 5x5 over there on Kick. I see that, Lizzie. Hang on. Check. See what I mean about testing to fail? Something is already failing, and I'm not real sure how to fix that. Everybody else seems to be able to hear me. In fact, it was working a minute ago. Let me reset the stream. Only on Odysee. How about on Rumble? Can you hear me on Rumble? I'm not talking. Yeah, I just reset the stream. How about that? Did that work? Did that work? That didn't work? Something is dead. Any better? Wow, now it's not working at all. Hmm. Hmm. I heard something. I heard something. Oh, okay. I'm back. Well, as far as I'm going, okay, there I am. Okay. It just needed a reset. Just needed a reset. It seems to be the case with Odysee all the time. I don't care what I'm doing, how long I've been doing Odysee. I always have to reset it. Of course, that is the beauty of all the other places that I'm bothering to stream. In fact, while I'm thinking about it, let me thank everyone for helping me out with this. I wouldn't be able to be streaming in all of these places with as much of a powerful computer if it wasn't for my fans and my friends and my followers here on these 4 platforms. Hopefully, I can actually grow even larger. Like I say, I'm starting out with Kick because of course, it came highly recommended by Pastor Chatelet, which you never ignore Pastor Chatelet. And what else? Oh, and it seemed easier, although I still did have to get a hold of the crew. And I like to do one thing at a time so that if I screw something up, I know what I just did. Doing too many things all at once time and you have something screw up or fix, and it's like, okay, which one of those actions did I do? And it's not always the last one that you did either. So, and yeah, if you're doing them all at once though too, it's also hard to remember which was the last one that you did as well. And I don't go around writing notes while I'm fixing my computer. You don't have time to do that. I try to remember afterwards. Okay. Chevy, welcome to the show over there on YouTube. And of course, we adore our... Uh-oh, everything just flashed. Wonderful. Well, if anything goes wrong, you can blame Space Pirate Yvonne now. He was actually the last one to donate any kind of equipment to me to upgrade so I could actually get on more streams. That was an odd thing. I'm wondering actually if that isn't my browsers going to sleep, and they actually sleeps a whole bunch of stuff. I don't know why though, because I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many do I have up here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I've got 10 windows up, I guess you could say, that all of them are actually doing something video wise. So I'm sure that takes a lot of power. A lot of power. Say some stuff. I'm your ninja. Welcome. Lizzie Longtoes, my famous friend. Thank you for being here. Is Salty boring you this evening, or are you just watching both? It actually surprises me that, because he actually was going on a vacation or something like that, and he actually streamed while I was streaming one night. And I had a lot of people over there. Yeah, man, I'm watching you too. It's cool. You guys are great together. I'm like, whoa. So, cool. Tabs. Actually, I was going to say, I have them all up in different windows. Does that still count as tabs? Because I'm not going... And actually, by the time... When I do my regular show also, too, not only do I have all 10 of these up regularly, but I also have, like, 20 more actual tabs in one window. You know how I do my show. You've seen me do my show. I'm your ninja. Welcome. We are everywhere. Okay. That sounds a little ominous, but I'll buy it. Thank you for being here. Thank you everybody for being here and clicking on my little acre of the internet today. I got 3 viewers over on Kick already. I feel so happy. I feel so proud. I can remember actually when I started uploading things to YouTube and everything like that, I get maybe 1, maybe 2. I went to some people's shows, and I would type and talk to people. And actually, the thing that got me the most followers was calling into another call-in talk show. So I thought, wow, why not? Omen Ninja and I'm Your Ninja. Oh, okay. I see you guys. All right. Now that you're next to each other there, I see. I always thought I'm Your Ninja actually lost their account and came back as Omen Ninja. But I see now that you are two separate people now that I see you both in the same room together. All right. I'm going to show you guys the announcements. I might have to do a refresh on these. I set these all up just so that we can watch them side by side. And watch the announcements. This is Tucker's announcement for tonight.
On Sunday, Donald Trump announced that he will not participate in tonight's Republican candidate.
Oops. Leave it to me. I mess up everything. Oh, look, they've already started. It said 8:55. Oh, okay, that's just a preview. But this was Tucker's announcement originally about an hour ago or so.
On Sunday, Donald Trump announced that he will not participate in tonight's Republican candidates debate, hosted by Fox News in Milwaukee. Whatever you think of Trump, he is, as of tonight, the indisputable far and away frontrunner in the Republican race. We think voters have an interest in hearing what he thinks. So when Trump approached us about having a conversation for a far larger audience than he'd receive on cable news, we happily accepted. That interview will air tonight in this space at 8:55. We hope you'll watch.
Yeah, I plan on watching. We hope you'll watch. Yes, of course. Yeah, when Trump called me, we couldn't turn him down. It almost sounds like somebody else on the other side is going to say, "Hey, man, he made Tucker an offer he couldn't refuse." You know, they're fanfic about doing stuff about like that. So this is I guess the filler until this starts 8:55 p.m. So yeah, we got a little bit of time. But also too, I wanted to make sure to test to fail everything, especially since I'm adding a new platform. I'm over here on Kick. In fact, when somebody mentioned to me at first, I thought, oh, that was a communication platform that people were using originally, I think on Instagram, something like that, before they got direct messages or something. It was KIK, kick me. It's like, okay. And then when he told me about this, I was like, oh, okay. So, but this is actually Kick, K-I-C-K, as in kicking ass, which is what 451 Actual does on Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. In fact, tomorrow is going to be Freaky Friend Friday or something like that. All right, let's listen to the filler real quick, and then I'm going to show you the intro on the GOP site where they're supposedly going to be doing the debates live. Okay, and I've noticed that's smaller because nobody really cares.
Why aren't you at the Fox News debate tonight in Milwaukee?
Well, you know, a lot of people have been asking me that.
When you say there are people on stage who shouldn't be running for president, who do you mean? Whatever happened to Mike Pence? He's out there attacking you. What is that? Do you think Epstein killed himself sincerely? Do you think we're moving towards civil war?
It's good to have you at Bedminster. It's very nice.
I love it. You're saying they stole it from you last time. Why wouldn't they do the same this time?
Oh, well, they'll try. They're going to be trying. Mitch McConnell is trying to get senators to impeach me. Crooked Joe Biden is so bad. He's the worst president in the history of our country. I don't think he's going to make it to the gate, but, you know, you never know.
It started with protests against you, then it moved to impeachment twice.
Right.
And now indictment. Are you worried that they're going to try and kill you? Why wouldn't they try and kill you, honestly?
They're savage animals. They are people that are sick.
So do you think it's possible that there's open conflict?
I can say this. There's a level of passion that I've never seen. There's a level of hatred that I've never seen, and that's probably a bad combination. We're doing this interview, but we'll get bigger ratings using this crazy forum that you're using than probably the debate.
Well, he's not wrong there. In fact, I've heard things come across my feed as to where that Fox News almost went to him and begged him and almost cried to him, "Hey man, you can't do this to us. You're going to take away all of our ratings." Da, 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 da. And now supposedly some of the rules of this Fox thing that they're doing, this debate, is that you can't mention him at all, or something like that. So maybe possibly correct me on that. Like I say, I've been trying to get the new platform up and all of this programming stuff, and trying to click on this and click on that and get it all situated. And then I actually had to redo. Okay, yeah, Rumble. When that thing did, Rumble actually blocked out too. There it is. Okay, that's live. But just the video. Like I say, there's when I have some up, sometimes my browser likes to take a nap, and it actually I think that's what makes everything flash. I'm just thankful that it doesn't turn off all the streams, except for Rumble, for some reason. All right, now I'm figuring it out. All right, I appreciate y'all being here with me, and of course, if you'd like to support the channel, the best thing to do is actually, of course, share. X me out, bro. X me out. Or share me with whatever platform. I'm actually on all of them, but I do all of this myself. I run my own business. Got elderly parents, and I got a household to run and a husband to take care of too. So yeah, I'm not here as much as a lot of people are. I don't get everything right all the time, and it takes me a few minutes longer to learn things than it does others. I'm getting old. What can I tell you? I don't have a problem admitting that. If you don't like that, there are millions of other streams you can go to. All right? I'm going to do this. And, of course, I'm a big... For those of you just joining me or just brand new followers or anything like that, I'm a very large... Being an old rocker chick, I'm a very, very large aardvark for the First Amendment. Advocate. Aardvark. See what I mean? At least you understood what I said. And actually, you know what? That's actually kind of neat. Maybe I'll put that on a t-shirt. I'm an aardvark for 1A. Think people would get it? I don't know. Sounds like a dad joke maybe. I don't know. All right, let me refresh this one. And let me... All right, come in. All right, this is the intro. You see McCarthy there. This is actually the intro for the GOP. Not that I disagree with them, but it really does seem kind of lame. And we're all waiting for the election, the debates, the gubernatorial debates. Of course, I'm hearing also too that. Oh, why can't I remember his name? There's so many names and everything to remember too. The black guy from California. The professor. Anyway, they screwed him out of a place on the set and everything like that too, which I think is abominable. Larry Elder. Yes, I knew I would remember it eventually. But yeah, this is, like I say, I don't disagree with this, but this doesn't give you any kind of oomph whatsoever, in my opinion. But this is how the GOP has decided to start this out.
Hi, this is Speaker Kevin McCarthy.
Hi.
House Republicans are hard at work holding the corrupt Biden administration accountable.
I bet you are.
In fact, we are already delivering results for the American people.
Are you now?
Now it's time to build on that success and ensure Republican victories across the country in 2024. How will we do that? Together with the Republican National Committee, I am asking you to take the pledge to bank your vote and cast your vote before Election Day in 2024 to expand our House majority, take back the Senate, and win the White House. We need Republicans to go all in on pre-Election Day voting. We don't need to wait until the last quarter to put points on the board. I am proud to partner with the RNC on Bank Your Vote, and I ask you to do the same. Go to bankyourvote.com to take the pledge, sign up to protect your vote, and invite your neighbors and friends to help us hold the Democrats accountable in 2024.
Yes, that's exactly my point there, TS. They're a little bit ridiculous. And like I say, there's no oomph to this. There's no excitement behind this. It sounds... I'm not going to say desperate, because it doesn't really sound desperate. But I don't understand the need to actually sign up to just go and sign up to vote early. It's not a big deal. If you're already registered, just do it. You know, in fact... I always vote early because, you know, on a weekday or a day that I can do it, you know, off. And of course, a lot of people wait till the last minute. That's just human nature. So waiting till the last minute is actually kind of stupid. So again, I agree with him with regard to voting early. Get it done. Make sure it's in there. In fact, that actually seems to be one of the only ways to make sure that it's valid. Recently, if you think about it. I'm your ninja, McCarthy. Well, like I say, I don't disagree with him, but again, lame. I was going to say, there's so many of us now that the left would probably deem us as Republicans and all this other stuff, and it's like, nah. I've actually never been on either side. I've always been an independent as far as that goes. I don't let anybody tell me what to do. And at one point, I used to agree sometimes with either side, depending on what the thing was about or anything like that. But lately, there's hardly anything in the Democratic mantra or anything here anymore that I can actually agree with. It's not constitutional, that's for sure. A lot of it. I've been seeing a few things that say it's good news about some of these court cases. Like I say, a lot of them are out of their minds. They're just, a lot of this, I think that they realize that they can't actually get away with this stuff. But again, it's another thing with the propaganda and the mind control and the TV, because people, it's like I say, they even use subjective language, you know, the maybe this is going to happen, or this could happen, or that might happen, or something like that. But that still gets it in people's minds. And if they keep talking about it, it actually starts to cement in people's minds that, hey, that's true, even though it's the exact opposite of what might be happening. Of course, and of course, I guess you could say it's one of those types of things that once you see it, you can't unsee it. So, and I've been seeing it for a long time, just for the plain and simple fact of being an independent. When I was growing up, meant that you listen to both sides and weigh out both sides equally and evenly and decide which one is best. And if neither one of it is good, go for a third alternative or a fourth alternative. There's more than one way to skin a cat. There may come a time I just can't make it, but until that day, I'll be there on voting day. I'm your ninja. Well, that's fine too. That's fine too. But it's one of those things like my grandpappy used to say about like food and things like that to his children. He's like, yeah, he says, you know, it's there for you. You know what I'm saying? And they want to make everything fair. Well, why not? You know, at least if you can do it, tell, you know, and this is another thing too. This is why everybody's different, and this is why this is America as far as that goes. It's like, hey man, I'm going to do this here. But, you know, there's a whole plethora of things for you to do. I'm not asking you to copy me, but get out there and vote, even if it's the day before or whenever the early voting is and everything like that. Because, like I say, I do it to get it over with myself. I hate waiting till the last minute for things. Because, well, like I say, when you wait till the last minute for things, in my opinion, especially when it comes to the music and everything like that, you end up having some kind of an emergency where you're at the very last minute panicking, trying to fix something. You know what I mean? I think that's what, how I run as far as that goes. Like I say, since I run all my own equipment and everything else, that's why I start early. That's why I try to get it right the first time, or try to get it done before it's time to actually produce, because, well, dead air is a bad thing when it comes to any kind of music, actually. People start to think that there's something wrong, or that, you know, you've choked, or you've lost your mind. In my case, yeah. So, stuff like that. And of course, once again, welcome to the show. This is a I was registered as a Republican in 2016, but I went back to independent. Yeah, I don't actually register as anything until it comes time for like the primaries and stuff. And of course, they don't really give anybody else a whole much of a chance. So you eventually have to go one way or the other, depending on who you agree with. There's been a whole lot of people that have that I've seen, even though they want to hide this, that have switched to Republican. In fact, they announced that on TikTok, just like a lot of the other people are announcing what they put in their classrooms with regard to the flags and the colored hair and et cetera and et cetera. I'm trying to be polite here, of course. But you know, I'll call a spade, but I'm not going to use rude language if I can help it, unless I think it's going to be beneficial to getting whoever's attention or whatever like that. Like we've seen in Arizona, they may break the machines for day of voting, since more likely Republican voters vote of that day. Exactly. That's, like I say, well, it depends on your district too. There, you know, and if you don't actually have to go to one specific particular place to vote, and you don't trust your area, go somewhere else. And I'm not saying vote more than once or anything like that. I'm just saying if some states allow you to vote anywhere in the state, because, like I say, voter suppression. They've done everything I can see to make it easier. And I've seen that the press has told us like that people are like having to cross Red Seas and stuff like that in order to come and vote now, with all these new things that we did after they claimed that the lockdowns were over and everything like that. And it's like, really? Somebody might have to wait in line for a little longer. And the thing is I think that's one of the reasons why they actually started in with the early voting, because the populations in a lot of these places did start booming. And one day actually wasn't enough. Ended up not being enough. $451 Actual, my metal man, welcome to the show. Appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. I'm actually testing to fail today. I added Kick to the stream. I finally got all of my new equipment installed and pretty much configured. It seems like it. I've only had 2 crashes and they both seem to have fixed themselves, so can't beat that. So once I get everything going good and I don't make any mistakes for tomorrow night as well, everything seems to be going real well over here on Kick. Once I still had to end up contacting the support team, but that's cool. They were very cool and very fast. So I recommend Kick highly. I'm not sure how to do the I was gonna say, do they have super chats or coins or whatever it is? I have no idea how to do support. I just got everything set up to where I can actually stream live over there. So give us a like or whatever like that wherever you may happen to be, and of course share. Not sure. 451. Yeah, in Arizona, actually, yeah, they were breaking machines and stuff like that. It's actually been craziness. It's been craziness. And then of course you got people saying, I love this argument too so far. We are in a civil war. We're getting to a civil war. Ah, no way. We are in a civil war. We're getting to a civil war. Ah, there's no way. I love that argument too. I'm watching all these people argue amongst themselves. Meanwhile, they're still burning shit down and still lying to us on the internet, or not the internet, but well, yeah, that too. But still propagandizing us to the max, and we still fighting about whether or not we're even there yet or not. So, yeah, okay. All right, so Donald Trump, Tucker Carlson debate night in Bedminster, 8:55 p.m. Eastern time. All right, I would venture to say that it will Oh, I was going to say, maybe I'll have to refresh. Let me see. That it'll pop up. We're watching the time now. It's 20 minutes to 8 according to my Central Time. 20 minutes to 8 according to my clock. Which means also 7:40 on the dot. Yep, my time. Central Time. 8:40 for you Yanks over there on the East Coast. And of course, welcome to the show. You guys know how to donate to the show to keep everything going. In fact, like I say, I'm growing thanks to you guys as far as that goes. Pardon me. Gonna go get snacks ready before it starts. Okay. Good idea, man. Yeah, go get snacks and share. Like I say, I want to... Main thing also, too, for those of you that are new with me and everything like that, if you're watching me from the new platform or anything like that, I'm a what did I say? A 1A aardvark, an advocate for the First Amendment. I usually do a call-in talk show on Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Central, and I am extremely happy that I've just been able to add another platform, and actually with the powerful stuff that I was sent from Space Pirate Yvonne. He donated to the show, actually pieces, parts. Like I say, I'll take things too. That's why I have a P.O. box underneath there too. You don't have to send me money, man. I take stuff. Got any more of that stuff? But yeah, I've had actually more people donate equipment to me than money, which is fine. Like I say, I want to grow big enough actually to where I can have my husband on the show too, although he's let me know that he's not real interested in that. But he's one of those types of people that he's real quiet until you get him going on something, and then you can't shut him up. But you gotta love him, and he's brilliant too. He'll come up with something that'll just slap you in the face. He's a very smart man, and he's got somewhat of English type humor that sometimes it takes you a few minutes, but then when you think about what he just said, it's like, oh, so he does that. That's why I keep him around, of course. I make sure he's fed well, among other things, but I'm not talking about that. That's none of your business. If you're in a relationship, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Oh. So, anyway, again, we're waiting for the Tucker Carlson interview, and we're going to have the debate over here off of Rumble, I believe. In fact, according to what I was reading, Rumble did a partnership with the RNC for this. So yeah, I was gonna say they'd be stupid not to run everything that's going on. If it's a site like that. So I'm hoping that somebody. Well, I'm sure I'm not the only one that's going to be live streaming Tucker Carlson and Trump either, but I'm going to have them side by side here. I would venture to say I think that Steven Crowder is going to have a drinking game. That's all he needs is to drink more. I'm thinking that actually might be one of his problems, that actually has split up more marriages than anything else I've ever experienced with all my friends, family, and etc. So yeah, why don't you do something constructive, dude? Drinking may not, I understand the allure, but they're literally doing a drinking game. You have to take a drink every time somebody mentions Trump. You have to take a drink every time somebody mentions J6. I'm not sure. There was 10 things, and it's within the first 15 minutes, everybody's going to be blasted. Blasted, wasted, blasted. I actually, if I drank that much water or club soda while I was watching him, I'd float away if I did the drinking game with him. So no, I don't particularly think that's a good idea, man. In fact, he's always talking about, being a Christian family and everything like that. And he just went through this horrible divorce with his wife. And it wouldn't surprise me if alcohol had something to do with it. Because I'm telling you, a lot of these people that get famous like he did, and he's actually supposedly a child star as far as I remember. He's been doing this since he was, 12? 13? something like that. So I'm not surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. Now, I'm not condemning him, but I hope he gets help. I do. I hope he gets help because if that is the case, not all East Coasters are Yankees. You have to remember, I'm from the East Coast too, just not as far as New York. I'm from Miami, FLA, originally. I was born there. So yeah, most of the people that I met on the East Coast were Yanks. Except for Georgia. You know, Georgia does jut out into the Atlantic there for a little tiny bit. So, and actually, let's see. When I say that about the East Coasters, I'm actually talking about Space Pirate Yvonne and some guy from Maine. But they know I'm just teasing. That's you know, that's what it's about. What can I tell you? I love you guys. Actually, I'm commanded to love you guys. I'm your ninja, born and raised in Florida. Yep, me too. In fact, we moved and then went back. Oh, countdown to the debate. 13 minutes, 35 seconds. They now are live. It looks like I just saw the change on here. You guys saw it same time I did. 13 minutes and 28 seconds till they start the countdown on the debate, or till they start the debate over here on Rumble. That's the GOP Fox News Republican presidential primary debate. Now, one of the things that I heard on here, I wasn't sure if it was... Oh, I know who it was. Styx, Hex, and Hammer. I was listening to him today. Basically, you might can listen to this. The title of his video was Trump is Unstoppable. He was talking about the fact that Trump is not running for the primaries. He's running for the presidency. He's not running for the primaries. He doesn't give two shits about all these other guys that have decided to try and run against him. He's the leader, and that's one of the reasons he's been the leader. I think he's gonna stay the leader, especially if they keep canonizing him like this. Or, wait, no. Demonizing him like this. Once again, my thought on that, if you hadn't heard me before, it's amazing. These people on the left have made it okay to like and coddle and worship criminals, essentially. But when they criminalize somebody on our side, they expect us to hate them. I'm sorry, it doesn't work that way. You've already made it okay to love criminals. You've already made it okay. So anybody that you criminalize, by human nature, if nothing else, and I was gonna say also too, if we already liked him or whatever like that, it's gonna be real hard for you to convince us that he's done something wrong, especially when everybody else keeps coming out and saying, no, none of this stuff that you're putting on any of these indictments is against the law. Even Ben Shapiro, Mr. Never Trumper, and still Mr. Never Trumper. In fact, he's almost to the point of TDS right now, if you think about it. But he also has, like a law degree or something like that. He's gone to law school and everything like that. Even he's saying there's nothing there. I think he even said, even as much as I hate to admit this, or something like that, because he says, I don't want Trump to be president again. I think it's too divisive. This is Shapiro talking. So, again, and this is from my background of listening to both sides, or listening to everybody. I try to listen to everybody if I can. Try not to give me a bunch of bullshit, though, because I'm not going to listen to stuff like, oh, you can change your sex. No, you can't. No, you can't. I don't care how much... Well, we've gone through that, too. But no, you can't. So, yeah, what is it that I won't put up with baloney? Weird Science, one of my favorite movies of all time. Mr. Tizo over here on Kick, he's thinking. I like the little what are those icon or memes or whatever they are. So many different names for all this shit. I'm lucky nowadays if I can keep up with everybody's name in my family. All right, they got 10 minutes to go, which means we got 5 minutes to go over here on Tucker Carlson. Let me refresh over here. Over here. Nope, just the teaser so far. I'm wondering if it's going to come up on this or if there's going to be another thing that pops up like they do over at Rumble. I've never watched one actually go live as it goes live on Twitter, or excuse me, the platform formerly known as Twitter, X. All right, I hope everybody's having a great night tonight. Welcome to the show. We love our lurkers. I see 61 people over here on Rumble. I appreciate you being here. I wish you'd talk to me. Do I have the right... Actually, let me see. I had to reset that. Do I have the right... Rumble search of Steve Bannon stopped working tonight. Sivkra, welcome to the show. I actually had the wrong chat up. I am so sorry. Oh, and now it's not available. Wonderful. Let's try again. Let's try again. Oh, it won't pop out the chat for me now. All right. Well, I'll check it. I'll check it periodically. I don't know why it won't do that. Watch again. No. Highlights media. I don't have to. Do I have to be in a different place on his page on X? Does anybody know? I mean, they got talk about tabs. They got tabs on Twitter now, or X now. Posts, replies, highlights, media, and likes. Interesting. I'm sorry you can't see me poking over there. I'm reading it as I'm poking it for myself, so I can see what I'm doing. Let me try this again with the chat. How do you share? There's a share. There's a button that actually says share on the far bottom right hand corner of this stream. And I guess you just I guess it'll give you the choices of where you want to stream it, whether you want to share it on your Gab or your Facebook or your X or whatever it is. If not, just copy the link and put it wherever you share stuff at. Adlo. Welcome to the show. See if I can pop this out so I can pay more attention to y'all. All right, it's working now. Yes. I've heard for the last at least 30 years at least, oh, technology is supposed to make your life easier. It's supposed to make your life better. Yeah, not if you don't know how to frickin' use it. Or if you, it's not, it's 3 dots. Oh, okay. All right. Thank you. Appreciate that, Adlo. Yeah, sometimes you gotta figure things out. But the best part about actually the network and everything and all the platforms and everything is the fact that most of the time people are really cool if you have questions or you need help with something. So once again, I appreciate everybody's help that tried to help me out with this and actually finally got me running over here on Kick. I couldn't be more excited or tickled, mainly because of the fact that, hey, we figured it out. It works. I love it. I just wish that I could move this over a little bit. Why is that all the way over on the right-hand side? All right. Still playing with Kick, and I'll be playing with that more. It gets, like I say, I do this all by myself, and I'm keeping track of almost everything. So if I miss you, or if I missed a comment or something like that, please forgive me. I don't have a producer. I'm the producer, the writer, the talker, the IT person, and all of that stuff right like that there. Oh, okay, I know. Actually, I'm surprised you're here, 451 Actual. Aren't you moderating for Salty? I was real surprised to see you here. Actually, I've got a hater, which I love my haters too. The best part about it is say what you will about Elon Musk. I think he's got a fantastic sense of humor, but he's not stupid either. And I like the way he's actually able to manipulate people in some cases. One of them was monetizing Twitter. When people get good streams and they make money off of the advertisers or something like that. And it's freaking some of the people out about it because they can't seem to get the follows or the interest that a lot of the other people that are being paid for it are. And then, of course, there's some people that think that the other side shouldn't be getting it either. So, again, a bunch of toddlers. Mine! Was 5x5 the whole time? Okay, great. Fantastic. That's actually working better the first time around than any of the other ones that I've done. And I still had problems with Odysee, and I've been on that one almost the longest. They're still growing with Odysee, and they do a good job. They've got a lot of good people on Odysee and stuff like that too. But again, it's not a bad thing to have more than one platform going, because you just never know who's going to crash, when, and for what reason. That's why I say technology is supposed to make your life easier, unless it doesn't work, or unless you don't know how to friggin' use it. Okay. All of my links are below. We're still waiting. Let me see if I refresh here. It is 7:56. Here we go.
It's debate night, but we're not in Milwaukee. Mr. President, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Why aren't you at the Fox News debate tonight in Milwaukee?
Well, you know, a lot of people have been asking me that, and many people said you shouldn't do them, but you see the polls have come out, and I'm leading by 50 and 60 points. And, you know, some of them are at 1 and 0 and 2. And I'm saying, do I sit there for an hour or 2 hours, whatever it's going to be, and get harassed by people that shouldn't even be running for president? Should I be doing that? And a network that isn't particularly friendly to me, frankly. You know,
none of them are.
They were backing Ron DeSanctimonious like crazy, and now they've given up on him. I mean, it's a lost cause. It reminded me very much of 2016. You know, in 2016, I went through the same stuff and had to fight them all the way, and then they became very friendly after I won, or just about when I was winning. But I just felt it would be more appropriate not to do the debate. I don't think it's right to do it. If you're leading by 50, 60, I have one problem leading by 70 points, and I'm saying, why am I doing it?
He's lost some weight.
And I'm going to have 8 people, 10 people, whoever made the debate, I don't know how many it is, but I'm going to have all these people screaming at me, shouting questions at me, all of which I love answering, I love doing, but it doesn't make sense to do them. So I've taken a pass, as you probably noticed.
Well, I did. I'm grateful that you did.
You took a powder, man.
It's interesting, though, because you spent a lot of your career in television.
Yeah.
You had a top show in television on NBC. But you don't feel the need now running for president to do television, obviously. Do you think television is declining?
Well, according to a poll that I guess we just saw, it just came out where it's down like 30, 35%, but I think they were referring to cable. I think cable's down because it's lost credibility. MSNBC, or as they say, MSDNC, is so bad. It's so wrong what
People
they write and what they do and what they
for
say.
Being
it's
lied
fake news, as I said. I think I came up with that term. I hope I did, because it's a good one. It's not tough enough anymore. It's corrupt news. You know, really what you do is call it corrupt news, but somehow that doesn't play as nicely. But it is corrupt news. So you have
propaganda,
NBC, and you have CNN, who's absolutely doing no ratings at all. I mean, they're dead. But they're doing none because they don't have credibility. They really don't have credibility. Fox is way down, as you know.
9.5 million people watching Tucker. 58,691 watching the
it could come
so
back,
far.
But they just don't have a lot of credibility, Tucker. You know that perhaps better than anybody. I think it was a terrible move getting rid of you. You were #1 on television, and all of a sudden we're doing this interview, but we'll get bigger ratings using this crazy forum that you're using than probably the debate or competition.
When you say there are people on stage who shouldn't be running for president, who do you mean?
Well, I don't want to really use names, but it wouldn't matter too much. A guy like, I call him Ada Hutchinson. It's Asa, but I call him Ada. You know, I could tell you, but I don't want to.
Yeah, who the hell is Hutchinson anyway? I haven't even looked at him.
But he's weak and pathetic.
How did he get on there and not Larry Elder?
I never knew him.
That doesn't sound right.
He was the governor of Arkansas. Not a very popular guy. I don't know how but that state is such a great state. The people are so incredible in that state, and they love me and I love them. How does this guy get elected governor of Arkansas? But he's nasty always, and has been. A guy like Chris Christie, the guy left with a 8%, think of it, 8% approval rating in New Jersey. Now he's running for president.
10.7 million people
and
watching
he runs
Tucker.
solely on the basis, oh, let's get Trump. He's like a savage maniac. He's like a lunatic. And that's all he talks about. His poll numbers are very, very low. He's about 2%.
What's he like? You know him well.
No, I've been friendly with him over the years, but I couldn't give him a job because I just never trusted him very much.
Christie.
I was just never one of his people that really trusted him. I never gave him the job, and that's one of the reasons he feels so hurt and so betrayed. And I understand that. I really do. I understand it, but I never gave him. You know, he wanted to be different things. He was looking at different elements of the administration, and I decided just I didn't want to do it. And now I'm glad I did, because you see, but you know, we had some great people. I had great people. We'll have even better people if we do this, because now I know Washington. Before I didn't know Washington. But guys like Bill Barr were terrible. I mean, they were, I would say, Bushies. I say that with respect to the Bush family, but they were Bushies, and just it doesn't work out for us.
It was clear, this is kind of far afield, but it was just interesting. I read Barr's account of his time. He wrote a book about it,
right?
His autobiography, and in it he lies about Jeffrey Epstein's death. Clearly lies. Do you think Epstein killed himself sincerely?
I don't know. I will say that, you know, he was a fixture in Palm Beach.
Yeah.
I don't know what Barr said about it either. I have no idea what he said. What did he say? He killed himself, probably?
He said he killed himself, and that they were going to do this investigation. They never did the investigation. It's never been public,
well,
and they hid it, and like, why are they doing that? And clearly Barr knew, but why would Bill Barr be covering up the death of Jeffrey Epstein?
Bill Barr didn't do an investigation on the election fraud either, okay? He said he did, and he pretended he did, but he didn't. McSwain, the U.S. attorney in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, said Barr just wouldn't let him do it. It was crazy. Barr became so petrified, so frightened of being impeached. They were going to impeach him. I don't know if you remember it.
Yeah.
It's not a big moment in history. But they said, we're going to impeach. You know, they play a much rougher game, the left, the lunatics. And they were going to impeach Bill Barr, and he was petrified. Now, how do you not get impeached? Don't do any of this stuff. But he didn't do the job there. I don't know what he did with Epstein, but possibly he didn't.
Do you think it's possible that Epstein was killed?
Oh, sure, it's possible. I mean, I don't really believe. I think he probably committed suicide. He had a life with, you know, beautiful homes and beautiful everything, and he all of a sudden he's incarcerated and not doing very well. I would say that he did, but there are those people. There are many people. I think you're one of them, right? But a lot of people think that he was killed. He knew a lot on a lot of people.
He was killed.
You think so?
I think the closer you look, I'm not a conspiracy person at all. I believe everything I hear. But yeah, the closer you look into it.
Don't.
I mean, the Attorney General of the United States, your Attorney General,
I'm
clearly
sorry, there was
lied
just
about
way too much fishy about that.
Yeah, he was.
Why?
Certainly, it wasn't well done. They had no
anymore.
cameras. They had no anything. Everybody was sleeping, and you know, a case could be made. Look, I'm not going to get involved in it, but I can tell you, a case could be made either way. But
yeah, he's smart. Leave me
it
out
certainly
of it.
wasn't the most well-run place.
So the reason I'm asking you is I'm looking at the trajectory since 2015 when you got into politics, you know, for real, and then won. It started with protests against you,
There's that
massive
governor, dude.
protests,
He looks
organized
like a
protests by
demon.
the
He looks
left,
like a-
and then it moved to impeachment
Looks like an
twice,
ostrich.
and now indictment. I mean, the next stage is violence. Are you worried that they're going to try and kill you? Why wouldn't they try and kill you, honestly?
Fox News, Democracy
They're
24.
savage animals. They are people that are sick, really sick. You have great people in the Democrat Party. You have great people that are Democrats. Most of the people in our country are fantastic, and I'm representing everybody.
Tucker
I'm not
Carlson,
just Republicans.
11.9
I represent
million.
everybody. I'm the president of everybody. But I've seen what they do. I've seen the lengths that they go to. When they make up for Russia, and when that's exposed and they go down, and Barr should have gone after them, and other people should have gone after them. And they did very late, because the Durham report came out. It was fairly
And
good.
they're showing
it could have been a
Biden?
lot tougher, I guess, but it was fairly good. But it explained how corrupt it was.
This is the Republican debate?
I'll tell you who did a great job was the Inspector General Horowitz. He did a phenomenal report. You didn't have to go to Durham. He did it on Comey and on, I guess, McCabe and some others, and it was a vicious, it was basically a true report, how bad they are. But these people are sick people. These are people that I think they hate our country. You want to know the truth. when you see open borders, when you see these policies that they have, and so many other things, it's so sad to see.
15.9 million,
very
Tucker.
fragile right now. I've never seen.
133.6.
I will say, look.
GOP.
I ran in 16, which was 15, but I ran in
I don't have to say
16
nothing.
election in 16, and there was tremendous spirit. In 20, there was even more spirit. We got millions and millions more votes. You know, it wasn't even a contest. People said, well, what'd you think of 20? I said, we did much better. We did. You got to base it on the number of votes. We got many more votes in 20 than we did in 16. But the election was rigged. It was a rigged election. And with COVID, they used COVID to cheat in a lot of different things, and we have so much on it. It's like so easy. But we had judges that didn't want to look. We had people who didn't want to get involved. They could he's a conspiracy theorist if you say anything about the election.
Oh, look, they're trying to use the
I have
Richmond
never
from
seen
Richmond
spirit
guy.
like there is right now. Even coming down here, just the people on the road that are just absolutely going
17.9 million, Tucker.
I think they like me, and I know they
Still
love
only
my policies. I hope they like me
133,000
too. You know, a lot of people
GOP.
say they don't like me, but they like my policy. I think they like me, but I have never seen spirit like it is right now. And the reason
Just went up
is
to 19.8.
because crooked Joe Biden is so bad. He's the worst president in the history of our country. I don't think he's going to make it to the gate, but you know, you never know. But he's a corrupt person, so corrupt that I took the name off Hillary. You know, I don't do two people at one time. I took the crooked Hillary and I retired the name. That was a good day for her. I bet she was very happy. And I used it for Joe because it's crooked Joe. But Joe is really...
But you don't think he's going to make it to November of 24?
Well, I think he's worse mentally than he is physically. And physically, he's not exactly a triathlete or any kind of an athlete. You look at him, he can't walk to the helicopter. He walks... He can't lift his feet out of the grass. You know, it's only 2 inches at the White House, right? That's not a lot. But you watch him, and it looks like he's walking on toothpicks. So, and then you see him on the beach where he can't lift a chair. You know, those chairs are meant to be light, right? They're like 2 ounces.
21.5 million, Tucker.
He can't lift the chair. He can't walk to the chair. And I don't know what they're doing with the beach. You know, this beach is seeming to play a big role, but they love pictures of him on the beach. I think it looks terrible on the beach.
Krispy Kreme.
It looks terrible on the beach.
Skinny legs.
Well, he can't walk through the sand. You know, sand is not that easy to walk through. But when he walks through it, he can't walk through the sand. And there's somebody in there that thinks he looks fabulous at the beach. I think he looks horrible at the beach. Plus, the beach doesn't represent what a president's supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be working. You're supposed to be getting us out of that horrible, horrible war that we're very much involved in with Russia and Ukraine. You could do that. You could do that very easily. I believe you could do that I don't believe he could do it because he's just incompetent.
He won't do it.
But that's a war that should end immediately, not because of one side or the other, because hundreds of thousands of people
They're
are
paying
being
him
killed.
too much money.
Can you imagine you're in an apartment house and rockets are going into that building and blowing it up and
Tucker on
knocking
X
it
showing
down?
interview, switch to the debate. Don't
Who
want to
can-
watch that shit.
Why should anything? Why should
As I
anybody?
say, I've got
human
them
beings,
both on here
whether they're
side by
Russian or
side.
Ukrainian or whatever they are. It's
Mainly
gotta be
just
stopped,
to
and it
see
can't be
who
stopped very
is
easily.
watching
It would have
and-
never
and
started if I were president.
To see Tucker
It would have
actually
never started.
obliterate the ratings of everything
back to
else
Biden, I'm
going
interested.
on.
So you think he's
And
failing?
of course,
He
to make
obviously
fun
is
of
failing.
the
It's clear to
RNC
everybody.
because, or
but
the
that would
GOP
make
because they've
Kamala
essentially
Harris
become
the candidate.
Well, not really. I mean,
Right,
I guess
most
they'd
of them
have
are all
maybe a
rhinos.
free
These
for
are all
all. A lot of people
establishment
say she
people up
has to
here.
remain for certain reasons. The candidate, she has to. I don't think that's true. Actually, I don't think that other people would stand for it. She has some bad moments. Her moments are almost as bad as his. I think his are worse, actually.
Yeah. She seems pretty senile.
She
too.
giggles a
She
lot.
speaks in rhyme.
He doesn't know how to talk at
It's
all.
weird.
So
It's weird, but she has bad moments. And
In rhyme? What do you?
well, the way she talks, the bus will go here, and then the bus will go there because that's what buses do. And it's weird. The whole thing is weird. This is not a president of the United States.
there was his impression of
And,
Kamala Harris.
I think they probably have some kind of a primary, and other people will get involved.
Newsom, right? I mean,
Could be. I mean, you know, I always got along well with him, believe it or not. But could be him, could be somebody else. He's got a big load on his shoulders because you look at California, what's happened. But I don't know if the American
he
people
cares.
really, the people that vote for him, I don't even know if they care. You know, you look at so many of the things that are going on, and people don't seem to be. In the old days, if you had a bad record, it meant a lot. Today, if you have a bad record, it doesn't really mean anything. You know, he looks good. He's a nice-looking guy, speaks well. But Biden, every time you watch him talking, it's like he's walking on eggs. You're waiting for him to collapse. And he almost always does. And I got to know the leaders of all of the countries, essentially, but the big ones. And the bigger, the tougher the leader. You know, it's like sort of, I guess maybe that's the way it's supposed to be. But I got to know President Xi of China and Putin and Kim Jong-un, North Korea. Did a great job with North Korea, kept us out of a nuclear war. We would have 40,000 dead soldiers right now. They're dropping
Mad
nuke
Maxine
right on
thinks
top
that
of the
he's in
military
love
base.
with them.
There are 40,000 soldiers over there.
He loves them.
And I did
he
great. I got along with
him.
him great. It's a good. That's a positive. You know, the press said, he said nice things about Kim Jong-un. I also said horrible things at the beginning. Horrible enough that he wanted to talk. And we talked, and we met in Singapore. We met actually twice. And we had unbelievable meetings. I know him very well. We were in great shape with him.
Some cultures
What do you think
don't
he
respond
and Xi and
to
Putin
weakness.
think of Biden?
I think they can't believe it. I think they probably say this is some kind of a system. You know, they had great respect for our country. They respected me. They had great respect for our country when I was there. Every one of them. Look, if you go to North Korea, you take a look at what happened. You know, the Olympics was dead. South Korea spent billions on the Olympics. Nobody was going to go. They didn't want to get blown up. They called me and they said, we are going to let the Olympics proceed. This is North Korea. I said, you should go into the Olympics. Put your athletes in. It wasn't like, you know,
Good one, Adlo.
athletes because, you know.
Famine.
But they went in, and they actually participated. And within about 2 days, the entire thing was sold out. And if it wasn't me, that would have never happened. But I got along very well with him, and that's a positive thing. He does have massive nuclear power, by the way. And if Hillary would have gotten in, or if the Obama thought process continued, it would have been a nuclear war, absolutely, with North Korea. He was expecting to go into a war, and it would have been a nuclear war.
24 million.
So do you
Tucker,
think the rest of the world looks on
not
at
even
Biden and thinks someone else has
200,000
got to be running the
GOP
government?
yet? 192,
Well, somebody else
35,
has to be.
351.
I don't think he's capable of doing anything. Look,
Don't forget to share this
when
out.
I debated him, I said, how come, and this was in front of probably not a friend of yours, Chris Wallace. He was the moderator.
Not a friend.
I said, why is it he
starting
wants to be
everything's
Mike,
still
but he doesn't
working
have the talent?
properly.
It's one of those
Bitchy little man.
He wanted to be his father, but he didn't have the talent of his father was great. His
He's a
father,
little fussy man.
his father interviewed me in 60 Minutes. It was actually a 10. Can you believe it?
No, I totally believe. His father had talent, at least.
I may have been the only guy that he gave a good 60 Minutes to. He was rough.
Really?
His father was tough. He was great, though. He was great at what he did. But Chris Wallace was so upset. He was guarding this guy who wouldn't do a show, by the way. You know, he wouldn't do. I figured
28 million.
I didn't mind Chris Wallace
Tucker.
because Biden wouldn't do a show, and it was very obvious. You know, he kept asking him and asking, but he wouldn't do the show. So I figured he's got to like me. But he came from a different planet. But remember when I asked the question, why is it that the mayor of Moscow's wife is allowed to give you $3.5 million? Don't forget, that was brought up. Now it's brought up all the time, but that was brought up by me long before anyone ever heard of it. I said, the mayor of Moscow's wife giving you $3.5 million. What
Yeah,
did you
and
do
they
to
called
deserve
it
$3.5
Russian
million?
disinformation.
To Biden. And Chris Wallace said, this has nothing to do with the debate. I mean, he fought.
He got in the way of the question.
No, it was crazy. And I said, well, wait a minute. He got $3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow's wife. Now, people forget that, but if you go back and take a look, you will see. And Chris Wallace didn't want me to ask that question. I said, I think it's a very appropriate question. It turned out to be much more appropriate than people thought.
Amazing. So do you have a preference in, assuming you're the Republican nominee and all goes as you plan it to go, do you have a preference in who you run against?
In many ways, I'd love to run against him because his record's so bad. You know, it's still horrible when you look at inflation and everything else, but others also have very bad records. I mean, California's a bad record, so, you know, should it be Gavin or should it be somebody else? When I look at San Francisco, what's happened to that incredible city? That was one of the greatest cities in the world just a short while ago, and now it's very sad when you look at it. Los Angeles, every city practically, all the Democrat-run cities. You know, Republican-run cities are doing very nicely because they arrest people when you have crimes. And they don't go after political candidates because they think it's good, you know. I mean, it's like been amazing. My poll numbers are the highest I've ever had. But because people understand it.
Can I just ask you, that gets back to my original question. So if the protest didn't work, you got elected anyway. Yeah. Impeachment didn't work twice, obviously. Indictment is not working. Your poll numbers go up. When they raided Mar-a-Lago in August of last year, your numbers went up. They can indict you 20 times, and you're not going to lose the Republican primary because of that.
No.
Well, so it makes it look even more ridiculous. I mean, the 4 indictments, and maybe there'll be more. I don't know. These people are crazy.
But they're counterproductive. So if you chart it out, it's an escalation.
Yeah.
Crazy like foxes, actually.
So what's next? After, try to put you in prison for the rest of your life, that's not working. So, like, don't they have to kill you now?
I think the people of our country don't get enough credit for how smart they are. And I'm not sure I would have said this 10 years ago, but they get it. You know, they really get it. When somebody gets indicted, your poll numbers go down. When somebody gets indicted, you announce, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be leaving to spend time with my family and to fight for the rest of my life on this stuff. But you're out of politics. I got indicted 4 times. All trivia, nonsense, bullshit. It's all bullshit. It's horrible when you look, and you look at what they're doing. The boxes hoax, I'm covered by the Presidential Records Act. I'm allowed to do exactly that. He's not covered, and he's got 25 times the number of boxes, and he's got them stored in Chinatown. He's got them stored in a flimsy garage underneath his Corvette at Penn. And by the way, at Penn, he gets millions of dollars. China pays this guy millions of dollars. See, I think he's the most corrupt president we've ever had, and he also has the distinction of being the most incompetent. And I believe both. I mean, he's both incompetent and corrupt.
So
and I actually believe he's compromised because China knows so much about him. They know where the money comes from. They know where it is, who paid it, and they probably paid it. Well, they do pay Penn.
$41.7
million. I
million.
think he takes $999,000 because he keeps it a little bit under $1 million, like by $1.
Republicans.
But he, in many ways, is a Manchurian candidate.
I see
we
it
have
go
a
up
Manchurian
in every once in a
candidate,
while over here on Rumble.
and he's afraid to tell Russia to get out of Cuba. He's afraid to tell China to get out of Cuba. He's afraid. China now is building. Think of this.
He's not afraid. He's being
China's
paid
building
by
military
these people.
installations in Cuba. The Cuban population of Miami is not too happy because they're never going to be able to go back
half the time.
And you don't even hear about it. And the worst culprit is the press, the media,
He's
because
incompetent.
Normally, you know, when I first heard that China's building installations in Cuba, and installations means military installations. Okay, you know, they said just some communication. They did that on the islands with Japan. They took the island, they started this massive construction, and they told everybody, including the Japanese. The Japanese have to be very careful. They told everybody that this is a housing development. They're going to build a housing development. And I said, how come the runway is 20,000 feet long? You know, private jets need 4,000 feet. They don't need 20,000 feet. The big ones need 20,000 feet. They don't even need 20. And I looked at the runway. I said, that's the largest runway ever built, both in width and length, for housing development. There's nobody that has a plane that big that you would have a runway that's
Why is
for
China
testing.
allowed to conduct imperialism in our hemisphere?
Well, yeah, and it's far beyond Cuba. It's all over South America.
Yeah, in the Caribbean.
So we built a thing called the Panama Canal. We lost 35,000 people to the mosquito, you know, malaria.
Yeah.
We lost 35,000 people building. We lost 35,000 people because of the mosquito.
Wow.
Vicious. They had to build under nets. It was one of the true great wonders of the world. As he said, one of the 9 wonders of the world. No, it was one of the 7. It happened a little while ago, you know. It says 9 wonders of the world. You could make 9 wonders.
Hey,
he
you
would have
gotta
been
ask
better
him
off
how
if
many
he stuck
states
with
there
the
are.
9 and just said, yeah, I think it's 9. But this is one of the true 7 wonders of the world. And you take a look at the Panama Canal. It was such an incredible engineering marvel. We sold it under Jimmy Carter. We sold it to Panama for $1. The following day, they quadrupled the amount of money that ships had to pay to get across. They didn't lose one ship. And now they've made it much bigger, and now they've widened it. They've doubled it, right? They've more than doubled it. And it's one of the most profitable things. Any time it's just incredible, right? We gave it away for $1. China now controls it. They actually control the Panama Canal. They run it, they control it. And we shouldn't let that happen. And we can't let China be in Cuba. And they'll get out. If I'm president, they'll get out. Because I had a very good relationship with President Xi, but he respected this country, he respected me, and he'll get out. And we can't let them run the Panama Canal. We built the Panama Canal. Should have never been given to Panama. We should have had it. But we gave it for $1. Think of it. They quadrupled. In one day, they lifted the fees, which are, you know, pretty big for these massive ships to go through, right? Rather than going around the Cape and all the tremendous storms, such beauty, such, you know, when you, it's beautiful stuff. But you didn't want to get caught in those storms. Those were storms that wiped out the biggest ships. And we go through the Panama Canal. We built it.
52.3 million.
Think of that. How stupid are we?
227,702 on GOP.
And now we have a president that can't put two sentences together. Can't speak.
He's not
can't
just whistling
walk,
Dixie.
Can't talk. I don't think he gets to the starting gate, but these people do miracles. I mean, he ran out of his basement, and you got away with that one because of COVID, so he sort of got away with it. They cheated on the election. But you have people that are very smart, but they're fascists and they're radical left lunatics, and they're destroying our country with the all-electric cars and the windmills all over the place, which, by the way, don't work, and they're all, most of them made in China. For the most part, they're made in China. Germany a little bit, but China.
54.3 million, Tucker.
Even no voter ID. I mean, why don't they want voter ID? There's only one reason they don't want voter ID, because they want to cheat. I mean, who doesn't want, you know, the Democrat convention, the last one, they had voter ID that was this big. It looked like a prison card, this big on their chest. You walked in, they had your picture, your this, your fingerprint. They had everything. The most incredible voter ID I've ever seen.
Not in
That
Georgia.
was to get into the Democrat National Convention.
Texas.
But to get into vote, if you buy groceries, if you buy practically anything now, you have ID on a card, credit cards or otherwise.
But that, don't you think it's racist to have to show your ID?
Well, they probably say that. They use anything not to show ID because voter ID is pretty simple.
Dumb. That's the dumbest
we could
thing.
go back, and we should go back to all paper ballots, voter ID, same-day voting. You know, France did it. France had mail-in ballots, and it was terrible. Anytime you have mail-in ballots, you're going to have massive cheating on your elections. Anytime, but not just the presidential election. Anytime you have...
Isn't that the whole point of them?
Yeah.
So you can
oh,
cheat?
yeah, sure. It's their whole point. That's their whole point. They want to cheat.
That's why they were so mad when they...
Because their policies are so bad that if they didn't cheat, they
the
couldn't get
lockdowns
elected.
were
Who wants
over.
open borders? Who wants high taxes? Who wants high interest rates? Who wants to not be able to use a gas stove? Or have to drive an electric car, which, you know, you have a 4-hour drive, but the car only goes an hour and a half, so you have to charge it. The happiest moment for somebody in an electric car is the first 10 minutes. In other words, you get it charged, and now for 10 minutes. The unhappiest part is the next hour because you're petrified that you're not going to be found another charger. People, I'm saying, if people, I'm not knocking electric cars, they're fine. They're fine. But if people want to buy a gasoline car or a hybrid, hybrids are pretty good, actually, but they should be allowed to buy. They don't want to do any of this. So right now, California's in a big brownout because their grid is a disaster. The grid all over the country is sort of a disaster, but the grid in California.
No pun
and yet
intended.
They want to have it in a very short period of time.
Skeletor,
millions
welcome
and
to the
millions
show.
of cars going off that grid, essentially.
California's in a big brownout.
So plug your car into a grid that's failing.
You should be able to buy an electric car. You know, electric cars could be fine if you drive short distances and you want to have, you know, whatever.
Is he
and you have
talking about the
plug-ins
shit on the
there you go.
streets?
They could be fine. But you got to have gasoline cars. You got to have everything. Let people buy everything. Now there's the new thing is your heating systems in the house. They don't want you to have a modern day heating system.
That's the whole
they
point
want
of
you to use a
capitalism.
heating system that will cost you at
Competition.
least $10,000 to buy and won't work very well. You know, none of the stuff works
choice.
as well. One of the things I did with EPA is you have states, many states, most of the states have so much water. You know, it comes out of heaven, right? The water pours down and you have it. It's there. It's got to go wherever it goes, into the oceans, whatever. It's not like a big problem. Now, in some states, they have a
Rocky.
problem, you know.
Welcome to the
desert
show.
areas and all, and for that it's okay. But they have sinks where no water comes out. You turn it on, no water comes out. No water
Kinda
comes out of
useless,
the
eh?
shower. No water is allowed to go into the washing machine for your dishes or for your clothing or what.
Where is this?
And I avoided all of that.
Wait, they have sinks where no water comes out?
Sure, you have restrictors. When I say no water, very little water. You want to wash your hands, right?
Yeah.
And you've seen this, and you turn on the sink and it's very little. Or you want to wash your beautiful hair, right? And you're standing under a shower. Then the suds never go. If the water comes out,
it trickles like somebody's spitting on you.
It usually takes place in new hotels and new homes.
Yeah, you take a drill and take the
They have
limiter out.
Well, you can, but now they make it so you can't do that so easily. They have a restrictor. It's called a restrictor, and it restricts the water from coming out. So I ended all of that.
68.1 million Trump.
They
Not
let the
even
water come out.
250,000.
You know what people do?
on
They
GOP.
wash their hands like 5 times longer, or in the washing machine, they'll press for their, let's say, the dishwasher.
70 million
press
now on Tucker.
Then they'll press it about 7 or 8 times.
Yeah.
They'll end up using more water, and it still won't be very good. I met with the head of Whirlpool. They were practically going out of
You
business
would,
during
Rick
my
Sanchez.
administration, and they
He
said
says,
to
I want a
me,
car
from
that runs on
Ohio,
alcohol so I can drink with my car.
Great state. I love Ohio. And they were really doing badly because people were dumping washing machines all over, mostly from South Korea, but also from China. And he was explaining it's just a terrible situation. I said, let me ask you, how's the quality? He says, we're better, but they are good enough quality. But, you know, of course he's going to say that.
I forgot Nikki Haley was
they
running.
are better. He said, but they don't allow us. They're dumping these machines. They're cutting us in half. They're killing us. And on top of it, the government won't let us use water in our machines. I mean, he shows me like a quarter of a bottle of water. That's supposed to be washing clothing. And I freed it all up, and I put tariffs on these countries that were selling and the machines coming into the country. And that company went from all the washing machine companies, they make washing machines, they make dryers, they make all of the different machines that do this kind of work, including dishwashers. And they went from a disaster area to being just thriving.
But can I ask
they
why?
love me in that part of Ohio.
Well, I bet they do, but why should EPA, no one at EPA was elected by anybody,
Yeah.
why do they have the power to decide how much water your washing machine uses? Shouldn't Congress in a democracy get to vote on that?
Yeah, you could say that. They do things that are not very...
So how do you, that's my question, how do you, if
Constitutional.
you get elected again, go back to Washington, how do you keep the agencies under control? How do you keep FBI and CIA specifically under control?
The way you do it, like I fired Comey, that was a big deal. You know, a lot of people said, and I fired him very early. Somebody said, oh, I wish you would have fired him. There was a real question about firing him. Anyway, you understand, because, you know, when they have a 10-year term, there is a question. I fired Comey. That was a great thing. If I didn't fire Comey, maybe I wouldn't be talking to you, or I'd be talking to you about real estate or something else other than politics, right? That was a coup, in my opinion. That was a very sick deal. That was the insurance policy. You remember the insurance policy? Oh, she's going to win, darling. She's going to win. But just in case she doesn't, we have an insurance
Oh, right.
policy.
The 2 FBI people that were having an affair.
And we caught them with that. That was a very important tweet or whatever it was, text. It was a big deal. That was a big deal. The insurance policy. She's going to win 100 million to 1. That's not good odds. At least they gave me 1, right? 100 million to 1.
This is
But
one of the
just in
reasons why I
case
don't trust the polls
doesn't
now
win, we
either.
have an
They're
insurance
manipulating it for
policy.
some reason.
And
You know they
everybody said,
are.
that's strange. That's
Not
strange.
to mention the fact, who
But
do
we
they
caught
ask
all
these
that
questions
because
to?
I
I've never gotten
fired
any
Comey,
polls. Who do
because
they ask these
when
people?
I fired Comey, it was like throwing a rock into a hornet's nest, into a nest of bees, and the place went crazy.
So when you were president, are you confident that you knew everything, say, CIA was doing around the
No,
world?
I'm not. I'm not. It's a very interesting group of people. I had very good
73 million.
relationships, I thought, but I was a little
Hey, he had to watch his
surprised,
back with the CIA. They'd already
when
warned
I
him.
got out.
9 ways
that,
a Sunday.
things go on. Look, it's...
What were you surprised by?
I was surprised. I think at some of the people. I was surprised that there was... I had a group of people. Look, we killed many, using the CIA, I have to say this, very bad actors. We were very good at it. You look at Soleimani, you look at al-Baghdadi, bigger than Osama bin Laden. I mean, Osama bin Laden,
Wait.
but al-Baghdadi did ISIS, and he was rebuilding ISIS very strongly.
And that was a
Oh,
CIA
a
that did that.
commercial on the GOP.
That was really us that did that.
Yeah.
That was really us that did that. And Soleimani was us that did that, not so much CIA. But we did some very good work with the CIA. What I started, you know, when I looked at the 51 intelligence agents, saying that that was the laptop from hell was Russia disinformation. When I took a look at that, I said, that's a horrible thing. They knew it wasn't. They knew it was not. And by the way, you're talking about cheating on the election? McLaughlin and Fabrizio, great pollsters, they said a thing like that plus other things meant anywhere from 10 to 17% of the vote would change.
Whatever happened to Mike Pence? You've always been nice to Pence. I've never heard you criticize Pence. You've defended him in public many, many times. He's out there attacking you. What is that?
So Mike wants to run for president. You got to understand, in my opinion, Mike Pence had the absolute right to send the votes back to the legislatures. The Democrats and everybody said, you don't have the right. In other words, what I said, is he a human conveyor belt? You mean if he finds fraud in Pennsylvania, in Georgia, in any of these states, Arizona, he has to send them to Mitch McConnell, right? That's right, sir. Well, if he finds fraud, he has to? Yes, sir. I said, so he's a conveyor belt. Boom, put him in. I said, I don't agree with that. And we had some lawyers, not all, we had some lawyers that said, no, you do have the right to send them back to the legislatures to be rechecked. Because if you looked at what went on in Wisconsin, who, by the way, now agree with me, Wisconsin has been virtually, other than the fact they're not allowed to do anything statutorily, but Wisconsin has been, I mean, what they found is incredible. I mean, we won Wisconsin. But Mike Pence had the right, in my opinion, to send them back.
Do you ever talk to him now?
No, I haven't spoken to him in a long time. I was very disappointed in him. I didn't want to do what Thomas Jefferson did. Thomas Jefferson, it was Georgia. And it was, hear ye, hear ye, the great state of Georgia is not capable or allowed to tabulate their votes. And Thomas Jefferson, who was the vice president, said, is Georgia sure that they cannot tabulate their votes? Georgia is sure. He didn't send them back and have them redo it. He said, we will keep the votes of the great state of Georgia for Thomas Jefferson and his president. I didn't ask him for that. Could have done that too, but I didn't. I thought that would be turmoil. I asked him to send them back to his legislature.
Anything coming from you is turmoil
to
in
the
their
legislatures,
opinion,
you
in the
know,
way
in
that
Wisconsin,
they do things.
let's say.
But why didn't he? I mean, you'd worked together for 4 years. You're the president. He's VP. You say you're aligned on everything.
I think he got very bad advice. I really do. Now, let me tell you what happened. I sat there with a few people.
They really want you to buy gold.
I think his lawyer was in the room too. His lawyer was very much against it. There were other lawyers that felt you could do it. It was one of those things. I think you could have done it. I think you can always do something if you see fraud or if you see problems. But it's very interesting. So after the election was over, the rhinos got together with the Democrats and they redid the election, so you couldn't do it anymore. So then I called the people. I said, so in other words, you're saying I was right. You could do it. Yes, you could do it. In other words, they took the Voting Act and they redid it so the vice president no longer has the power to do what I said he could do. So when that happened,
so
I
you mean
said,
they
wow.
changed the Constitution?
And you know,
you might want to
some
throw
of these
that one out.
Democrats in the eye and they say he has absolutely no right to do it. And immediately after the election, they met rhinos, could name them all, and Democrats, and they approved legislation that takes away the right of the vice president to do it. So I said, so you're saying I was right. The vice president did have the right to do it, and they said, yes, he did.
So if you're saying they stole it from you last time, why wouldn't they do the same this time?
Oh, well, they'll try. They're going to be trying, yeah. And not only me, you know. Look,
You mean gonna be trying? They are trying.
DeSantis is out. I think he's gone. So he was at a level. People have figured him out. He's gone. But if somebody else got in, other than me, they'll go at him just as viciously as they did me. These people are sick. They will go after them. And a lot of people say they won't be able to hold up. I do get credit for holding up quite well, I must tell you. I think it's...
How do you do that? How do you get indicted, every week and stay cheerful?
It's... I think it's a lot easier because I'm so high in the polls, because it means the people get it.
Yeah,
the people see
none of this
it's a
stuff's
fraud.
working.
The people see it, like this horrible district attorney from just a little while ago.
They're trying to criminalize
from
him
essentially
after making
Atlanta.
it okay
It's
to
Fulton
love
County.
criminals. It's not going to work.
said, basically, I don't have any right to challenge an election. Well, what about Stacey Abrams? What about Hillary Clinton? What about all of these Democrats that are still challenging my election?
See what I mean?
The same people that are saying, he's challenging an election, challenged my election. And they did it with slates. They did it with all sorts of things. They were very bad about it. But basically, they're suing me, and they're saying, you don't have any right to challenge it. If you challenge an election, we're going to indict you and put you in jail. So what they're doing is they've weaponized, and don't kid yourself, the DOJ and Biden and the whole group, they're watching all of this stuff. They love the local stuff. You know, the DA in Manhattan. Not only that, they put one of the DOJ top people into the Manhattan DA's office to run things. They don't even have a case against me. It's not even a case. Everyone says, even the Democrats say, you can't bring these cases. You have no case. The Attorney General or the District Attorney, Fannie Willis, in Atlanta, she's getting killed.
I love how
basically
their names
she's saying Trump doesn't have the right to criticize an election. But you've been around long enough now. You've seen many elections criticized. I mean, Hillary Clinton goes crazy. Every time she talks, she says, he's not the president. Jimmy Carter said, he's not the president. Well, I am the president. Hillary Clinton called me, by the way, at 3:02 in the morning to congratulate me the night of the election.
Did her voice crack?
Well, her voice was, it's very different, I will say. I won't get into that. But
what do you mean?
Her voice was very different. Don't forget, they were all celebrating at 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
I can't believe you beat me,
said,
you bastard!
I thought we won because the rallies are
now.
so big. You know, we'd go to Wisconsin and we'd go to Georgia. We'd go to different states and Michigan.
Congratulations,
we'd have rallies
but we're
in Pennsylvania
not
with 58,000 people in
and
Butler.
they didn't.
And I said, you know, how are we losing this? How do you have a rally where you have from 50 to 100,000 people, many of them? You know, I did 7 a day for a couple of days. That's a lot. That's a lot. These are big rallies, too. And I didn't hold back. I didn't say, let's make them let's do abbreviations, right? But they challenged this stuff. Yeah. Hillary called me up and conceded. Now, the word is that Obama said you have to do that. But she called up and totally conceded. But now, you know, every time you see her on television, she's saying, like, well, she's challenging the election.
Do you think...
So that would mean that she should be indicted, but that would mean also that Stacey Abrams in Georgia should be indicted, because she still thinks she won the election for governor. She still thinks that. She's never recanted. And
do you think Stacey Abrams will be indicted for that?
Never.
No, of course not. She won't.
Never.
The
they gave her a
TV.
TV.
Like that.
They gave her a television.
No, it's a different thing.
With that being said, movie bit or something like that. Made her
when they did
president
impeachment
of the
hoax
world.
#1 and impeachment hoax #2. Jim Jordan, the House was fantastic.
Yeah, it did,
Adlo. The Senate
it happened before with Jefferson. I'm sure it's happened in a lot of places.
It's too bad I endorsed him. He was begging. He was going to lose that race, and I endorsed him, and he ended up winning the race because of my endorsement. He was down. He was going to lose to Amy McGrath. She was $90 million in cash, all set to go. She was leading by 3. He was going down. I did him a favor, and then 3-4 months later, he really wanted to impeach me. He's a bad guy. But if you look at
the backstabber,
what's going on politically,
that's what most of these political hacks are these days.
The
they get in and
loyalty
everybody else that they stepped on, they get in and they throw the ladder down.
I will say. With that being said, I've had great loyalty also. But the House was fantastic.
Yeah,
the Senate was
even
very
your
good.
IT
you know, they
person
overrode.
They were able to turn your IT
Mitch
person
McConnell,
against you. So I don't know about that.
In my opinion, was trying to get senators to impeach me, especially for the second one. And on the first one, he acted very, very slow. He should have gone much faster. But Mitch McConnell wanted to, and the senators went up to him, guys that are subservient to him because he gives money. You know, he gives them money. He gives them a lot of money. He raises some money and he gives it to them, and therefore they do what he said. That's the only form of leadership he's got.
So last question. If you're elected president again, what's your number one priority? When you ran last time, you said, I will build a wall. This time, your bottom line top promise to the country.
So you can do numerous things at the same time.
Of course.
But let's say number one is a border.
Thank you.
And taking hundreds of thousands of criminals that have been allowed into our country and getting them out and bringing them back to their country, Guatemala. By the way, not only the 4 countries that we think of as neighbors, all over the world. Last month, we had 149 countries represented. Think of it. We had 149 countries represented, Tucker, from places that many people never even heard of, coming into our country. And they're coming in from mental institutions, and they're coming in from prisons. They're emptying out their prisons all over South America. They're emptying out their mental institutions.
Yes, you can.
Terrorists are pouring into our country. We have no idea. I had the strongest border in the history of our country. And I built almost 500 miles of wall. You know, they like to say, oh, was it less? No. I built 500 miles. In fact, if you check with the authorities on the border, we built almost 500 miles of wall. And I had another 200 that I was going to build. You know, it's like water. It seeks.
Does anybody know what the aggregate of people watching GOP?
All they had to do was install it. It would have taken 3 weeks.
And
that's when I found out. I said, I think these people actually want open borders. The first thing I would do would be I would seal up the border good and tight, except for people that want to come in legally.
Do you think we're moving towards civil war?
There's tremendous passion and there's tremendous love. You know, January 6th was a very interesting day because they don't report it properly. I believe it was the largest crowd I've ever spoken before. And you know some of the crowds I've spoken before.
I hope so, man.
And
he is only
like
one
July
man.
4th
it's up to us.
Mall.
We're in this predicament for some of the people that we voted into office, for sure.
The biggest crowd I've ever spoken before was on January 6th.
Say that they were voted in. I'm not even sure about that anymore.
A very, very small group of people. And we said, patriotically and peacefully and patriotically, right? Nobody ever says that. Go peacefully and patriotically. But people that were in that crowd that day, very small group of people, went down there, and then there are a lot of scenarios that we can talk about. But people in that crowd said it was the most beautiful day they've ever experienced. There was love in that crowd. There was love and unity. I have never seen such spirit and such passion and such love. And I've also never seen simultaneously and from the same people such hatred of what they've done to our country.
So do you think it's possible that there's open conflict? We seem to be moving towards something.
I don't know because I don't know.
You mean to tell me that all these people burning down cities and everything like that doesn't prove that in some way or another?
There's a level of passion that I've never seen. There's a level of hatred that I've never seen, and that's probably a bad combination.
Donald Trump, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Very much.
Thank you.
That is a bad combination, by the way.
Bad combination. Thank you.
Wow. All right. Nice. Up almost 74 million people in the last, 46 minutes that we were watching this. 74 million, just hit 74 million. The GOP on Rumble hasn't even hit 300,000 yet. Let's see if we can find an aggregate since we got let's see, don't know how many total watching the GOP debate. Let's see, there was more than one place that there was doing it. Now, of course, I got the Rumble here. Would you guys like to hear the sound on that? Or you just want to watch them and make it up for yourself? Okay, how to watch the Masters, the Super Bowl. It doesn't even actually come up as the Republican debate. I don't even... Google and Microsoft doesn't... I'm just going to do the free ones. I can't afford all the paid stuff. Let's see. How to watch videos of the Republican debate free. Okay. Let's see. It gave me information last time. Oh, that's just videos. I don't want videos. I want search. And I always get the AI, which actually is not... AI is a terrible name for it because all of this stuff has to be programmed. I don't care. Computers and inanimate objects cannot learn. Probably just call it a database with of course, AI is shorter, but they're actually making everybody use the definitions for everything here lately, so why not that too? Can't type or spell kick. No, don't care about the race for vice president. Don't know either. These younger generations are like aliens to me. No comprende. Excellent movie. What movie? Did I say something? I'm sorry. All right, let's see if we can get an aggregate here. How to watch. Rolling Stone. As if I would take any freaking information from those guys right now. Decider. I've never heard of the Decider before. Start time channel. How to watch. Where to watch the GOP debate online. Fox News. That's $5.99 a month. Live streams. Fubo TV, Sling TV, Hulu, plus Live TV, DirecTV Stream, or YouTube TV. Those are all paid as well. Fox News unveils tonight's GOP debate on free. Rumble and Fox Nation. So there's two places to watch it for free, which most people would do anyway, I would venture to say. Let me see about Fox Nation. Open a new window. Oh, that's a paid TV. That's paid too. Oh, free trial. So really, and truly, the only place that anybody's watching it for free, it looks like, is on Rumble. 74 million watching Tucker and Trump. Yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing. I'm curious. I'll catch Salty restream tomorrow. You don't actually think that Trump is going to actually choose any of these guys for vice president, do you? I mean, he can't stand Christie. I don't think he trusts Ramaswamy. He definitely doesn't trust Pence anymore. Nikki actually, I'm sure he probably doesn't trust Nikki. She actually was another one that promised that she would not run against him if he ran again. Which was obviously, since you see her up there, was a lie. You guys want me to open the phone lines? Does anybody want to call in and talk about this or anything? No. I love to hear everyone's opinions, and this actually, by rote, is a call-in talk show. And I said that if anybody was around or anybody wanted to talk about it or anything like that, I would open the phone lines and make this a discussion, because of course this is our right as a 1A aardvark. I'm gonna put that on a t-shirt. I'm a 1A aardvark. I love that. It was a faux pas earlier in the show, but it sounds fantastic. But advocate, of course. So yeah, my main purpose in getting people in doing the show actually is to get people to call the number, and of course, the phone number is scrolling below me there. Let me make sure everything's set up. This thing loves to change my settings for some dumb reason. I don't know why. Because it's electronics. It's supposed to make your life easier. Okay, phone lines seem to be working, and you can call me now if you'd like. 409-877-1243, or you can Skype me. Everything, it's all scrolling below me there. The phone lines are open if you want to talk about all of this stuff. When I've had a long day, I like to check in with you, Laura. Your show is chill. Well, thank you, Skeletor. I appreciate that. I'm not as excitable as most people are. I'm a little older, so it's not as. I can see the difference, or well, let's say, one of the things I've learned in this life and being on this earth for almost 60 years is that everyone has their price. So, and you can, and it's extremely prevalent when it comes to politics. It's extremely prevalent when it comes to a lot of this stuff. And like I say, what you saw, the difference between the two things that you're watching here, Tucker Carlson, chill, laid back, conversation, no screaming and yelling, actually getting someone's actual opinion. And of course, Trump, a lot of people have said that, you know, Trump is really genuine. Yeah, he's a billionaire, but that doesn't mean he's not a human being. It also doesn't mean that he is not charitable. It also doesn't mean that he forgot where he comes from, and etc. and etc. But what you're seeing here on the stage here with Rumble with this presidential debate is a show. In fact, I was watching it and I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to interrupt too much and talk over Trump too much so you guys could hear it. But what I noticed on this Fox News thing is when they started it out, all of the people that they showed at the beginning were Democrats. You saw them, they were holding up, I don't know if you can go back right now or anything like that, but they were holding up Biden signs. They were holding up anybody except for Trump. So like I say, I had heard that that was actually one of the rules that of this particular thing going on for the debate, the Republican presidential debate anyway. Don't mention Trump. You're not allowed to mention Trump. Don't worry, you know, and everything like that. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure. We're getting, well, I know for a fact we're not getting everything that we should be getting. And like I say, all these people that were friends of his and that actually are in office or were in office because of him and that had promised not to run against him this time, DeSantis, Haley, Christie even at one point. Of course, Christie, he's turned into a petty little pig, hasn't he? Even though Trump won't call him a fat pig. Oh, don't call him a fat pig. Even though he's at the buffet right now. R. What can I tell you? But yeah, you're watching the difference between at least authentic, or at least what I consider authentic, and a show. These guys are all in it for the power. And actually, a lot of them, if you listen to them talk, they're in it to try and beat Trump. They can't wait to humiliate this dude. Even after him helping them and stuff like that. But yeah, it's like I said earlier before we watched this, and this is what I've been hearing, some of the opinions of some of the talking heads that we all follow, and that I follow as well. And I believe it was Styx Hexenheimer that said this. He says, yeah, man, he says he's pulling out all the stops. He doesn't really need to campaign against these people that are campaigning against him for the primaries. He's running for the presidency. He's already passed the primaries. He beat what, 15 or 16 people last time in 2016, and they all thought, oh, he's a joke. Oh, he's just, yeah, he's that. Nah. So 74.8 million. I'm watching the counts go up because this actually wasn't live on Tucker Carlson. It dropped at the same time, and actually, I think that it was a really, really smart move too, to start like 10 minutes or to start 5 minutes before the actual debate started. Because, I mean, you saw how many people he was ahead before they even got started. So I do appreciate that. Of course, the phone lines are open if you guys want to talk about this, and I understand if you don't feel like talking. I get to a point where I don't feel like talking anymore either. In fact, sometimes on Thursdays I have to push myself because even as boisterous and jubilant as I seem, I'm kind of an introvert. I'm one of those kinds. I have the capability of being boisterous and joyful and everything like that, but I also love my quiet time and have to have it. I get worn out after a couple of days doing shows and things like that. People. So yeah, if you wanna, the phone lines are open. And of course, share. We're talking about what's going on tonight. I'm actually curious because another reason why I'm seeing also too that this seems like a show is that even without the sound, when I see these guys up there talking and look at all the commercials and everything, they even have to give us a break from these guys. You didn't see that with Trump. There was no commercials with Trump. We didn't need a break from him. They went for as long as they needed to go and asked the questions that probably most people were asking about as far as this goes, and they got it over with. These guys, you can tell that it's kind of isn't that funny? Bank your vote. They're even using him for that. That's the GOP. They hate him, but they'll use him for their benefit. You saw that, right? This is the bank your vote commercial. But as I was saying, even without the sound with these guys, you're watching these guys and they're all, and of course I talk with my hands and everything too, so I can relate. But I mean, yeah, and they're pointing fingers at everybody and they're laughing at the other guy when they make a retort or anything like that. Actually, to be honest with you, I'd like to be seeing what they say, because you know damn well for the attention, they are probably trying to come up with as wild of comments and things like that as they can, to even if it's just to subvert or to again subjugate or project onto the other person. It's like I said before, they use a lot of subjective language like maybe or could or might or things like that, and they put it in the person's head, and then they keep talking about it, and then people start thinking that that's actually true, even though the absolute opposite is true. And of course, that's what propaganda is all about. Tell the lie, make it as big as you possibly can, and keep telling it until it becomes a lot of people's reality. So, of course, this is one of the reasons why we do this, and one of the reasons why the freedom of speech is so important. I don't care if they tell you what you're talking about is false or rhetoric or any of that other stuff. You still have the right to say it. You don't have the right to go around threatening people and all this other stuff, although I've noticed that they've pushed that little object over to the side occasionally, more often than not, actually, especially when it comes to Trump or anybody that actually goes against the left and the New World Order. So, you're in my age group, we can identify. Yes, I am one of the first Xers. 1965 was the year, but I'm actually late 1966, so I'm one of the first Xers out there. And I've been watching these people. I think, everybody says, oh, middle-aged black people, or excuse me, middle-aged white people are his main base. I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing that at all. And there's a reason for that, too. We've gone through the last 50 years of these people, Biden and all these others that are octogenarians now. They were, put it this way, they were old when I was 18. And they were in office back in the 80s, 83, 84, 85. I'm old now, and these people are ancient to me. And they've been in power for so long that they think that they know what's best for everyone. This is the reason why we're getting hit with all of this crapola, that they want to take away our rights. They want to, in fact, they're starting to mask people again, from what I've been reading and what I've been told. Don't comply. In fact, if you have to, make it a meme or something like that, or a little video or something on your phone. If anybody says that, play Fauci saying masks don't work. I was a senior when you were a freshman. I graduated in 84. I should have graduated earlier than that because I started school when I was just 4 years old. I should have graduated at 16, but I went ahead and quit 2 times, so. School was stupid to me. School is even stupider to me now. They don't teach you anything in school, not to mention the fact that, of course, I saw a Peanuts meme the other day, and I think it's Schroeder that turned around and looked at Lucy, and he says, nobody's going to teach you how to overthrow them. Kind of hits you right between the eyes there. But it's true. And like I say, I thought school was stupid back then. And I actually, because of the fact that I quit, I noticed this even when I went back and finished. They at the time, they were putting classes together that didn't go together. They were literally causing confusion. Now, according to the schools here, and I still remember this for some reason, actually because of the fact that I thought it was so stupid, it was like, and it gave me one of my first moments about what they were trying to influence us, you know. My dad always taught me to question everything. He's a history professor and has been. But I went back into 12th grade, and because I hadn't finished something in the 10th grade, they made me go back and do it. And in the 10th grade, they had you have world history, but they didn't have you have world literature until the 12th grade. And I'm thinking to myself, and I actually ended up, because of that, taking those two classes together and thinking, wow, no wonder these people were writing what they were writing at the time that they were writing, because this was what was going on at that time. Like wars or governments and the different things that happened in history back in like 1400s, 15, you know, world history. And of course, in world literature, you study Shakespeare and all the Shelley and all of those that were from Germany and England and all around the world at that point. And you like it clicked with me at that point. I thought to myself, well, why do they separate these classes? I was wondering at that point how many other classes that they separate to confuse you, because, you know, you take world history in 10th grade. By the time you get to the 12th grade and take the world literature, you don't remember what you took in 10th grade. I mean, come on. Okay, yeah, I was class of 84. And like I say, I should have been class of 82. But I quit several times. It was just that when I finally went back, I finally went and lived with my dad. He's like, you're finished in high school. It's like, can I get a GED? He says, no, you still got time to go and they'll accept you, so you're going back. And like I say, because of the fact that I had quit when I quit, I ended up having to take classes that they don't usually put together. That actually stuck with me. I mean, it's been 40 years since I've been in high school. And that's still stuck with me till this day. So there has to be something to it. But like I say, I thought school was stupid 40 years ago. Because there was another trend that I would see during going to school, especially junior high and high school. You got taught the same shit over and over and over and over. And it's like, how many times do I have to pass this test? You know... Didn't like Shakespeare, only liked Roman Empire. Well, we were being taught stuff like Dostoevsky and stuff like that too. War and Peace, I think it was, or something like that. Of course, that was the advanced English that I don't know how I got in. Basically, I guess because I can read and I'm a decent speller. But again, it was stupid. Even that was stupid. Because they were, you know, I understand why they were teaching it in some cases. But if you didn't know what was going on in history at that point in time, that book didn't make any freaking sense to you. So, that's why I was, like I say, I was blessed enough. And that's something that's actually stuck with me my entire life. And I've watched education just go down, down, down. And of course, like I say, it's like George Carlin finally said right before he was going to die. I think he knew he was going to be on the out. That's why he started saying, hey man, education, they don't want you to be smart, independent thinkers or any of this other stuff. They want obedient workers. Just smart enough to do the paperwork and do all of the stuff and everything like that, but dumb enough to continue taking the lesser pay and the shittier hours and the shittier jobs and the bullshit and everything like that. And of course, we're seeing that happening also too with the immigration problem that we're having at the moment. So they're doing it any way that they can. And there's been so many people that have come out of the school system now, they don't even notice. It's like they don't even notice. Or they've been brainwashed into thinking this is a good thing, even though you're going to be out. So they're diminishing the self-preservation of people, perhaps, I guess. Maybe you could say. English was never as you can tell, English was never my best subject. I never thought it was mine either, but math was my worst, and actually PE was my worst too. The only thing I ever really liked to play was baseball. But they only, in PE, they only did that certain times of the year. So I couldn't stand all the rest of the stuff. So I actually flunked PE because I wouldn't dress out. I wouldn't change my clothes. I went out in the street clothes. And of course they don't, some stupid rule, they wouldn't let you play in your street clothes. So I used to sit out all the time. But if it wasn't baseball or softball, I didn't want to play. I didn't want to play it. They even had the girls playing football. No. I kept asking them, isn't there anything else I can do? Oh, you have to have PE. Why? Why? I'm a baseball player. I like to play baseball. Played baseball all the way up until, and here's the kicker. Here was the funniest part about that too. I couldn't make any of the teams. I've tried to play baseball. I tried to play softball or baseball in high school, and I couldn't make any of the teams. I wasn't in the clique. I never made any of the teams. I made every other team that I ever played in. I played Little League. I played out in the parks and all that other stuff. I made every other team that I ever played in. But they wouldn't let me in the school teams. I don't know why. But again, that was another thing that told me that school wasn't for everyone. Your daughter is excellent at math. I suck at it. Well, good. This is something also, too. This is why people need other people. Not everybody is good at everything. So you share your talents with everyone. That's actually something that God wants. That was, I don't remember what sermon that was, but don't hide your talents. It was the thing about how the servant, the master gave one servant 10 talents and he brought back 20. And the other servant, he gave 5 talents and he brought back 10 more. He went out and made more talents with the talents that he gave. And then he gave another servant 1 talent. He buried it and brought back the 1 talent. And the master told him, "You are a wicked servant. You went out and hid your talents and didn't do the work and didn't do anything." He says, "You're getting punished." So I don't remember. I'm paraphrasing, of course. But I mean, that to me is what I think about when I think about sharing your talents. Everybody has something that they're good at, and we're actually supposed to be sharing that with others that may not be so good at that. But then they need to share their whatever talent they have with someone else or with you, or that's how it's supposed to work. That's how I find it. That's how I see it supposed to work. So I appreciate that. All right. Phone lines are still on. And I don't really have anything else prepared unless you guys want to see this debate. Check it out. Tucker Carlson is up to 6. He's not even on anymore now, or it's just a video, but 76.2 million. And the Fox News, the Rumble has not even hit 350,000. By the time I got into high school, all I wanted to do was drink, smoke dope, and skateboard. Yeah, I actually wanted to work. I was ready to work. I've actually had a job since I was 12 and a half years old. Working for someone else, not mowing lawns or babysitting and all that other stuff. When I was growing up, I always looked old for my age, so all I had to do was have my parents sign a permission slip to work, and I got to work. So I made my own money for a really long time. That's why one of the reasons why I didn't have any qualms about running away from home, and I didn't have at 15, and I didn't have any qualms about finishing school either. I was already in the workplace by 12, 13 years old. I knew what was out there, and school was not teaching it. School was not teaching it. In fact, I had a math teacher who actually, after I left, married one of his students right after she graduated that next year. But I had a math teacher. I was doing really bad in math, and he put me on his badminton team. I actually believe it or not, I lettered in badminton because I was on this teacher's team, but he always gave me the creeps. And like I say, it was almost like as if he was trying to get to me at that point. He always, got real close when he was talking to me in class and stuff like that. It wasn't overt, but you can feel that kind of thing. And like I say, even though I was doing bad in math, because you know back then you still had to have good grades to be in a letter sport, and believe it or not, badminton was a letter sport at this place. My high school's actually been torn down since I graduated, but worked washing dishes at 14. Skeletor, yep. Us Xers learned how to work real early in life if we wanted something. I mean, I knew people, and I did this too on occasion, ran around and picked up tin cans and stuff. And at the time, you could actually pick up bottles and stuff like that too. They had the deposits on the bottles. People threw out the bottles and stuff. You could go back and get 10 cents per bottle. So yeah, 50 bottles. You had a nice, had a nice little video game stash or whatever it is. That's what I used to do. I used to play video games all the time. Hey, I was a kid. What did I know? That's what I wanted to do. I always wanted to play video games back then. So I've been doing electronical stuff since before it's been cool, I guess you could say. I actually graduated high school. When I finally did graduate high school, I actually had a computer programming course. NASA had just given our school a bunch of their computers, and learned my very first program was on an Apple II, something like that, or Macintosh 2. I think it was an Apple II. So yeah. All right, enough about me. I know you guys don't really want to hear this debate. I'm not real interested either. Like I say, President Trump's not running for the primaries. He's running for the presidency. And of course, we're going to have plenty to talk about on my show tomorrow as well. Every Thursday, 7 p.m. Central Time, the Talk to Me America show, where the world wants to know what you have to say. So call me and tell them like it is. We're going to have plenty to talk about, because I also hear and have heard and have read that President Trump is going to turn himself in to Fulton County, Georgia tomorrow as well. So we are going to get a mug shot. Now, I don't know how. There's people that are speculating that this DA is going to try and actually throw him in a prison cell. I don't think that the Secret Service is going to allow that. Not to mention the fact that there was also another judge that came out either yesterday or today that said that Trump is actually exempt from any of these prosecutions, even though they're bullshit to begin with. But he still has like presidential immunity from any of this stuff, because supposedly he was doing all of these things that he is being accused of, which again are not against the law. Any of these things, he has the presidential immunity from when he was president. He was doing a lot of these things while he was in office. So there's another one. Delivered papers when I was 12 and shoveled snow in the winter. Oh, I'm so sorry, man. Paper routes were rough. I know paper routes were rough. In fact, how did you deal with non-payment? I mean, as a kid, it's not like you can disrespect your elders as far as that goes. Because when I was 12, man, other people were allowed to spank you. In fact, my parents always told me, if you get in trouble at someone else's house or anything like that, you're going to be in double trouble to mine. So, yeah. Let's see. 76.8 million. Tucker's numbers are still raising with his episode 19. And again, actually, the numbers on the GOP debate thing has gone down. It was 320 something. Now it's 311,000 something. Oh, now it's going up. Every time it goes up about 1,000 viewers. And it's almost like as if they shared it again somewhere. But still, that only brought them up to 312,000. They're losing people. They're losing people over there at the debates. All right. The main thing you can do to help me out also too is share. Of course, I've got all my links below, how you can support the channel. And of course, I have to thank you guys for all of your support. I am completely supported by all of my fans, my watchers, my sharers, anybody that's on any of my channels. I don't take any sponsorships, not that any have been offered, but I don't take any sponsorships. I don't think I will. I'm not. I gotta tell you, I still love Salty, but his segues into some of these advertisements and stuff like that, he just, I'm sorry, I'm not saying that he lied to us or anything like that, but at the same token, I'm just hearing too many commercials on his live feeds now. I understand to a point. I guess it would depend on the rules, because I know that there's a lot of people out there that won't take some of these excuse me, that won't take some of these sponsorships because they expect you to take 2 to 3 minutes out of your either A, video, or B, live streams just to advertise for them. And it's like, well, wait a minute. Why are we going backwards on this? Because usually the most effective advertisements, as you can tell, are actually the 15-second ones usually are even too long in some cases. You know what I'm saying? It depends also, too, I guess, on your product, whatever it is that you're selling or anything like that. But like I say, it kind of reminds me of when people were really heavy duty into some of these pyramid schemes. You go to a party with some people, you know what I'm saying? You got that 1 or 2 people in there that have some kind of pyramid thing to sell you and everything like that. And you'll be talking about something or talking about this and that and the other. And all of a sudden they segue into this and say, oh, here, look what I got for you. You can change your life with this and all this other. And it's like, that's what that reminds me of. I'm sorry, Salty. Like I say, I still love you, but I'm allowed to critique. and I was going to say, I've noticed that at one point, there were some YouTubers that were saying, hey, man, if the commercial comes up on this, watch the whole thing for me, okay? That supports the channel or whatever like that. But then they still give you the option to opt out of it after 5 seconds. This is one of the reasons I stopped watching cable. And I tolerate it now because it's free. I know they have to, I know that they have to pay their bills. That's understandable. But it bugs me when, like I say, the whole point of cable when it first came out in '81 was not having to fuck with or listen to advertisements or commercials all the time. And it got to a point where I finally gave it up, like in the early 90s, because I realized I was paying for advertisements. And the thing was, is it kept the price of the cable or the whatever it was kept going up and up and up and up and up. And they would play the same movies over and over and over again. Nothing new ever came on. It was like they only did contracts every 10 years or something like that for new videos or new movies or anything like that. They completely turned MTV into bullshit. They don't play music anymore. Does VH1 even play music anymore? Somebody splatted me. I have a hater, but don't worry, I love you too. And so does Jesus. And I'm going to let Jesus deal with you. One splat every show now. But that's okay. I really don't care. In fact, that's just another one of those proofs that, except for in certain circumstances, one person can't be right and 20,000 be wrong in a lot of cases. So it doesn't. Yes, I have a P.O. box, Skeletor. Are you going to send me some goodies? In fact, I did that on purpose. I've had a P.O. box ever since I've been in the music business because it is so easy. And I've had to deal with it before, too. It's so easy to get stalkers. In fact, I had to deal with 2 of them in New Orleans. I literally had somebody follow me home after a show. And then start bothering me and my husband. It was like, at the time, as people knocking on the door. I even had the cops come to my door. They didn't swat me, but they had reported something that just absolutely wasn't happening. And literally had the cops knock on my door. So yeah, it's real easy to get stalkers when you do public work like I do, especially singing. So that's why you've been collecting movies for years. Yeah, us too, Skeletor. We've got we still got a whole shitload of DVDs and stuff like that, because I'm sure that we'll need them eventually, as long as we can keep the electricity on. I love the one thing that I did love that it comes back to my mind is he was talking about the brownouts in California. I knew he wasn't doing a pun, but at the same time, I got it, and I'm hoping that everybody that was watching him got it too. I can't wait to see some of the other talking heads talk about this and the debates too. Like I say, they're losing watchers again. They've gone down to 310,000. They were doing it 312,000. So now, yeah. You're just a regular, you're not a wild and crazy guy, Skeletor. Just a regular guy. You wear the plaid pants and the golf shirts like Rodney. Like, no respect at all, Rodney. Remember that movie, The Regular Guy? He made a lot of money on that. The Regular Guys. Okay. All right. Well, I don't want to watch this anymore. I'm getting hungry, and I think it might be time for me to feed my old man. I've actually been working on this all day. Main thing is I was trying really hard to test to fail. That's actually really the reason why I opened the phone lines again, too, is to make sure that even while I'm streaming, that still works. But we can work on that tomorrow, on the show tomorrow, the Talk to Me America show, where the world wants to know what you have to say. So call me and tell them like it is. My regular show on Thursday, I did this as an impromptu, mainly to make sure that that my kick was working. If this show is successful tomorrow with the phone calls and everything like that, I'll start working on adding pilled.net. I'm crazy, just not a stalker. Yeah, okay, that's not, no problem. As I say, it really gets scary when you have people follow your ass home. In fact, that's one of the reasons now why most of the time, unless I'm not feeling well after the show, we'll go eat first, or we'll go check the mail first, or I'll go get a soda someplace first. We don't go. We never ever go straight home from a show anymore. Although it was easier to do in New Orleans, everything wasn't spaced out as much as it is here. Hell, we drive for 2 hours for a show sometimes around here. So most people aren't as inclined to do it, but it's still, people will still go out of their way to start messing with you. So we're really careful about that when we can be. So, and of course, I don't mind you stalking me online as long as you're not knocking on my door. Of course, that might have its consequences too. All I can tell you is where I live, the police don't rush. Okay, so I'm going to let everybody go for now so I can talk to you all tomorrow. Make sure to share out the show for tomorrow night. And until next time, love all you guys and everything like that. But until next time, AMF!